Good morning. So, I want to talk a little bit about the core wound of abandonment because anytime that we are feeling abandoned, it is proof within itself that we are abandoning ourselves. Otherwise, we could not feel that another is abandoning us. Um, when you can stand up within yourself and give yourself the reassurance, you are unabandonable. So, in especially on the twin flame journey, it's something that really wakes up or when you during the spiritual awakening, as you go through it, all of your core wounds are activated, and abandonment is at the very base of the illusion of this realm. Sits abandonment because abandonment is the core wound. It is the wound from which all of our life has been built. It is the perception of separateness from the one consciousness. It is the perception of separateness, which allows us, it sits within the ego, right? Which allows us to even have this life experience as an individual, um, to take all that runs through us and to be able to work with it and create this life experience, that the abandonment is kind of like a given. And what we are doing is we're working through ourselves, working through the mechanism of this avatar, working through all of our archetypes, all of the structures of behavior, our natural nature, the gifts that we were given, and we are healing ourselves during the spiritual awakening. It is we are healing ourselves, and as we heal ourselves, the easiest things are the first things to go, the little behaviors that we catch on to that are really easy. They're close to our consciousness. They're close to you could see like the subconscious and the conscious, and it's kind of like a spectrum. There are things that are on the edge of our consciousness. They're still in the subconscious, but they're on the edge, and we can pick up on them quickly as we start peeling back our subconscious. And at the very core sit the core wounds, the wounds that on top of that, all of the behaviors have adjusted and adapted to those core wounds. And one of the very first core wounds is abandonment. We were abandoned as soon as we were born. We were abandoned by our mother. We were brought out of the womb into the world, and now we are our own individual, and we are tossed into this existence and have to, and we are separate from our mother, which is life giver and feeder in the beginning, the one, the nourisher. And we are separate from the one consciousness. We are separated from God, from the all, from knowing that we are divine, from knowing that everything is always working out for us in to the best, for the best, for our highest good, for a purpose, for a reason. And there are lessons in everything. Everything that we go through in life is leading us back to our divine center. And if we perceive that somebody else abandoned us, it means that we are abandoning ourselves. And how does this happen? If we perceive somebody else abandoning us, that means that we put onto them, we projected onto them some kind of fulfillment for us. So if I can perceive somebody else as abandoning me, they left me alone to fend on my own. It means that I actually put parts of my own responsibility onto them. That means that I will only feel secure in this universe if you are there to give me that security. Because otherwise, somebody leaving your life, you would be able to look at it as a part of life, or okay, what is this? The person fell out of my life. There's something there that there's a lesson there to learn. There, that means that my path is opening up into different directions. This is no longer a match for me. and I'm no longer a match for them. So abandonment is just a perception. It is a core wound. It is a fear that we have that is underlining our structures of behavior and warping our structures of behavior around this fear, right? If I have a core wound, which is the fear of abandonment, I feel abandoned and I don't want to feel abandoned. So I find all sorts of ways to find security. And if I'm finding security outside of myself, which is typically what we do during this life experience until we start going through the spiritual awakening, and then we go inward and then we find our connection to the all, which is the work, right? We go through life, we're born, we're abandoned. We are a clean slate. We go out into life. We have structures of behaviors that are naturally flown through us, but they are flowing through us, but they are still like malleable. They are still sculptable. They are like a clean slate, and then it is pure potential. And so the potential that we have is then formed during our life experience, what we're taught to think about ourselves, experiences that we have that kind of give us that teach us subconsciously our belief in what place do I hold in the world, what is my value, how much power do I have, how do I manipulate this world to get out of it the best opportunities and the best um, results. Some of us go into victims, some of us go into bullies, some of us go into, there's so many different behaviors that these archetypal structures can create, especially since we are a diverse being. We have many archetypes that are flowing through us, and they're all intermingled and connected, and they create like a spectrum of different behaviors. You could see this as each archetype is a pure color, and it can mix with all of these other colors to make an infinite amount of options of behavior, and our behaviors are the same. So we have this going through us, and this going through us, and this going through us, and this going through us, all these different archetypal structures of behavior that are flowing through us by nature. And when we're born, they're pure and clear, pure potential. But as we grow, we start adjusting. They start adjusting and forming into behaviors, certain ways of managing within the world, structures. They start forming into automatics or into behaviors that are tangible. And then many times these behaviors are formed before we even have any life experience on which to judge, to make a judgment. And so we're stuck with behaviors that were formed and that we created before we even have conscious memory or conscious life experience in order to create these behaviors. So it's like when you meet somebody that it could be 60 years old and they have this behavior that is very childish, that pushes people away from them in certain aspects. They're very touchy, and they could either go into crying fits, or they could go into rage, or all of these different behaviors that they created that many of the times they don't even know what it looks like from the outside or how it's perceived, because for them it's just the natural way of being. They don't understand the detriment of it. And we don't understand the detriment of it because we all have these behaviors. So one of the very first initial wounds that we get is the abandonment. And so first of all, if you are perceiving abandonment in your life, it means that you're in a good place. That means that you are at your core wound. You have an opportunity to go through the pain of the loss, right? Because it's loss. It's when you hit up against that feeling of abandonment, you go through a kind of mourning, a loss. You lose whoever it is that is giving you this security. So it is an opportunity for you to go deep and to figure out, okay, why am I feeling this abandonment? Where is it touching me? What purpose did this person serve for me? They served for me they gave me security in this way and in this way and in this way and in this way. And why am I searching in a person outside of me to give me internal security? That means that my happiness, my security is dependent on this other person or on this situation or on this job or on whatever it is that is giving me the security. And when I can break it down in that way, I can see where I'm abandoning myself. Because if I perceive somebody else as abandoning me, it means that I'm not standing up in those places, right? Because I'm pulling strength from outside of me. That actually means that I am abandoning myself in those places. So when you perceive somebody as abandoning you, it is actually an opportunity to do core wound work within yourself and stand up in those places, because when you are a self-reliant unit, and I mean, it's nice to have somebody there that you can depend on, that will be there in the physical world for you, and somebody um, uh, to share your life with and to share your experiences with and to create memories with, so you can reminisce with them. And so all of those things are nice when they come from a place of inner strength. And when I know within me that I am standing up and I'm not abandoning myself, I am giving myself the own nourishment that I need for my soul to know that I'm worthy. First of all, it feels so good. Secondly, I'm a self-reliant unit in the ways of providing for myself my own security, my own worthiness, and my own um, pride of who I am, taking responsibility for my behaviors, taking responsibility um, for doing whatever my talents are and whatever is my God's work, I call it, doing whatever I was meant to be doing here, the messages that are flowing through me naturally, bringing that forth in a way of being secure in it and giving myself my own good for yous, all of that good for yous. Then it is much easier also to be in a relationship with me, because I'm not pressuring you to give me what I need for my life experience. So that's what it creates a dependency. Because if I am asking somebody else to give me security, it means that they are getting security out of giving me security. So they like creating, because of people that don't have that don't need somebody latched onto them, pulling their resources from them. They're busy having their own life and standing up in their own life and doing their own thing and being responsible for their own emotions. So if I am in a relationship where I am dependent on that person to give me self assurance, don't abandon me because I'll be lost without you. That's a big weight to put on somebody. And if I'm putting that weight on somebody, they know it, whether they know it subconsciously or consciously. And for them, it means that they are creating a dependency for me on them. They are enjoying that dependency, which means it won't allow me to heal, because they are reinforcing that weakness within me so that I will be dependent on them, so that they can get the security that I won't abandon them because I need them for my own existence, right? The minute one person grows beyond that point, the whole relationship falls apart. It ceases to exist. It can't exist anymore. So that's what the codependent relationships cause, this dependency that feeds the weakness of each of the dependents. And it feeds the weakness. It's a cycle that many won't get out of ever. Not that they are happy in it, because if you are not standing up in your own self-worth, happiness will be elusive. It'll come and it'll go. It'll be um, shallow. It'll be on the edge because inside, you have that insecurity and you are always dependent on that other person. So you have to keep that other person happy. You overcompensate. And so it warps your whole sense of I. Um, so anytime that we are dependent on somebody else, that don't abandon me, then we need to look inward where I am abandoning. Wherever I am seeing them as abandoning me, that means that I already abandoned myself in those places or never stood up in those places and took responsibility for them. It is a telltale story. If I'm feeling abandoned, I have abandoned myself in all of the places that I am expecting that other person to give me security in. So it's kind of like a gift. And when you sort through the core wound of abandonment and you are able to understand it and overcome it, first of all, you find your connection with the one consciousness. You find that you are always connected because when you go in that deep to see where that abandonment is sitting, the core of it is right on that connection, that portal within that leads you to God. So that leads you to the one consciousness, that believes you to the understanding. It doesn't matter what you call it, but it leads you to the understanding that you are connected to everything. We are one big mechanism, and I'm just one aspect of it. I'm one makeup of dirt and water and energy that can be produced from the all, this whole universe. And so when you look at it that way, you can come when you can look at it that way, you can see the pain of abandonment as an opportunity for you to rise into yourself and give yourself that security. And being your own unit, giving yourself that security, it's like you walk around with self-nourishment. You're nourishing yourself. You don't need all the superficial. Then you are really free to choose what you want and the people that you want in your life. You're not dependent on, oh, that person will give me security in this place, so I am going to be with somebody that doesn't match my vibration, my core vibration, because of what they create for me in my life. It's also kind of like a you could say kind of like if you look at it in a way, it's egotistical. I'm in this relationship because of what I get out of it, not because I actually love this person and want to see them thrive and want to see them grow and want to see them go out and make something of themselves and just to love them freely and unconditionally because I'm not putting off all of my happiness onto them, forcing them to come in and create my life for me. So sending you guys so much love. Thank you for watching.